Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday evening Forex breakdown. My name is Gail Mercer, and I'll be your presenter this evening. I would like you to take a moment to read over the risk disclaimer. It is for your protection as well as mine. And basically, you should always remember you should never trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay? So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Gail Mercer. I've been trading over 15 years. I actually started out with Forex. I went to work for a company and we programmed indicators, and I just fell in love with the charts. I thought it was absolutely amazing that we could see price action second by second. I do specialize in support and resistance, candlesticks, as well as volume analysis. Now, I do have 4 books that are available on Amazon.com. They are Trading Nadex Binary Options, Keeping It Simple Strategies, The New Trader's Guide to Trading Nadex Binary Options and Spreads, Trading Nadex Binary Option Using Currencies, and Trading Nadex Binary Options and Spreads Using Candlestick Patterns. Now, I would like to invite you to visit my website at tradershelpdesk.com to learn more about me, the indicators that I use, and how I can help you improve your trading. You can also always contact me at gm@tradershelpdesk.com as well. Now, before we get started looking at charts, I do want to just put up my contact information. Sometimes after I go through the charts, I forget to show you this. So again, my website is www.tradershelpdesk.com. My email address is gm@tradershelpdesk.com. You can also contact me by phone at 336-263-0122. You may get my voicemail because I am on the phone a lot. So if you receive my voicemail, just leave me a message and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Now let's go and let's look at what we have available tonight. The first thing I want to go over is, as I'm going through the charts tonight, think about all the different ways that you could trade these potential moves. Nadex gives us multiple products for trading any one move. For example, we have the binaries, and under the binaries we have the 2-hour, the daily, and the weekly. And then we have the call spreads, and again we have the 2-hour and the dailies. We also have the 5-minute binaries for those of you that like to trade real fast, and we also have touch brackets that actually allow you to position yourself for the entire week. Okay, so there's multiple products that you can use to actually enter trades. Okay, now this week we have some major market reports. First, we have the Aussie cash rate on Tuesday at 12:30 a.m. Okay, that is followed by a rate statement and the governor speaking at 5:30 a.m. Now, I have mine set to New York time because I'm in North Carolina. If you're in a different time zone, yours could be slightly different. Additionally, we had the Fed Chair Powell speaking at 9:55 on Tuesday. And if you open the detail, it actually tells you what he is going to be talking about and if there are questions expected. Anytime there's questions expected, a lot of times it will be more volatile. Now, in addition to that, we do have the Bank of Japan governor speaking Thursday at 4:25 a.m. At 5 o'clock, we have the Bank of England governor speaking. And then at 7:45, we have the Euro monetary policy statement, followed by the press conference. Now, all of this could actually impact the markets. And then on Friday morning, we have the biggest monthly report for Forex, and that is the non-farm employment change. Okay, that typically will move any USD currency substantially. In addition to that, Canada has their employment change and unemployment rate. It is a very big mover for the USD CAD as well. So we have some major reports really kind of later in the week that's going to move the markets, okay? Now, what I like to do is actually analyze the weekly, the daily, and the 360. And I do think the yen pairs are the ones to watch this week. Most of them are actually overextended on all three time frames. The Aussie yen is one of them that is not overextended on the daily, but when I get to the other pairs, you'll notice they're all overextended. So the first area that I would be watching would be the 360. You can potentially get a retracement up to, I'm going to say 75.50 area. And then you want to see what it does at that area. Does it break through? Does it come back and test for support? If it comes back and tests for support and you get these candlestick reversal patterns there, then that typically means that it's going to go higher, which means you could start looking at the daily chart, you know, in target maybe 76.22. If it moves through that area, then you can move over here and say, okay, there's a likelihood it could come up to 78.3, okay? But it's all going to start over here on this 360. So that's going to be an important chart to watch this week on all of the yen pairs, I believe. Now, on the Aussie dollar, okay, you can see that they have broken above this blue moving average here. So I'm expecting them to continue up, especially considering that this is ticking upwards now as well. Now, I think the important thing is whether they can sustain price action above 69.34. They may actually need to test for support again, and it's probably going to be around 69.10 where they're going to test for that support again. But as long as it holds, you should see some potentially upward move on the Aussie dollar. Any questions on the Aussie? All right, let's go and look at the euro yen. And this is one that I was telling you, it is just, everything's overextended. You're overextended here. You're overextended here. You're overextended here. Okay? And even on the ADX, you're overextended on the 360. So that tells me we have the potential to go to the moving average, which is probably about 121.40 all the way up to just about 122.90. Okay? If it retraces to just the blue moving average and this acts as resistance, then more than likely it will come back down and at least test the low, okay? But if it goes through this blue moving average and then it tests it and it forms support here, then you could anticipate it going potentially higher, especially given that the daily and the weekly are all overextended. Okay, so again, this is on the yen pairs. I think they're the pairs to watch. Now, if you're a trend trader, you know, you could use the lower time frames to trend trade to the upside from the 360, or you could actually go in on the 360 and watch for that resistance area to form. If you are a trend trader, then, you know, more than likely you're going to wait until it targets this ATR or this ATR over here, potentially even over to the weekly. Right now, just don't think it's going to go to the weekly. I think it's probably going to find an area of resistance, probably at the ATR on the daily. Any questions on the euro yen? Okay, let's go look at the euro dollar. Now, right now, the weekly charts really, what moving averages do I use, Maverick? It's moving averages that has a smoothing algorithm that I designed in it. Okay, the weekly euro dollar is not telling us very much. Yeah, you had the potential here of making a double bottom. I don't like that bearish bar that developed here. Okay, but really there's nothing else significant to me on the weekly. So then when I go to the daily, the one thing that I notice is that this is a pivot low formation. Normally, that is a reversal candlestick pattern that indicates the next bar will be bullish. So I think we're probably going to go back to 12.14 on the euro dollar. Here's the issue. Right now, price is at 11.72. So this is not a big move. That's maybe a 35 pip move. It's not one that I personally would use a touch bracket on. I'd probably be more inclined to do a binary option and see if it actually does go up to 1.1214, almost at 15. Then when you look over to the 360, you say, okay, what is in the way of price reaching 1214? It's actually this congestion dot at 1187. Now here is where I think the smarter move comes in. Instead of going in just arbitrarily right now, if you will wait, let this come to the congestion dot, and then come back and test for support, which will probably be about here. I want to say 1.1135. Let it form a bullish candlestick. That would give you a better entry point because you would have more room to move, because then the expectation is that it will go through this line of resistance all the way to the ATR over on the daily chart. So what you get is a move that resembles that. Okay? And to me, that would be your better entry point. You could actually use a touch bracket and a binary for this type of move. I do use a lower time frames for confirmation on all of my entries. Okay? Any questions on the euro dollar? Okay, let's go over and look at the British pound yen. On the British pound yen, again, this is one of the yen pairs, and you're seeing the same thing all over again, and that it's oversold, it's oversold, 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 oversold. So you have like 4 indications right now that this market is overextended. Because it is overextended, more than likely it's going to move to the upside. I'm expecting it to move to 138. If it breaks through 138, it could potentially go to 139.50. Okay? Again, it's going to have to break through this blue moving average, and then it's going to have to test for support. So you'll go up through it, test for support, and then go back up. Okay, that's what I would be looking for. If it breaks through this ATR to head to this ATR, you're going to get the same move that I just explained. So you'll flip the ATR, you'll come back and test a new ATR, then you'll go back up. You can actually walk through the market waves using just that philosophy right there. Okay? But again, I would confirm with the lower time frames on all of those moves. Okay? I go from a 360 down to a 60 down to a 15. Let's look at the British pound dollar. Now the British pound dollar, you can see that it's approaching the oversold area here. Now, I have been waiting for this to get here for about 2 weeks now. So you can see that it's come here. Now, using the same thing that I just told you, where would I anticipate it to go? Either to this moving average or to this ATR. Okay? So I'm expecting this to bounce up, and then if it finds resistance in this area right here, then more than likely it will come down. But it has to form that resistance area. What does that mean on the lower time frames? On the lower time frames, it means I expect this to go up. Okay, you can already see that you've had divergence on the lows. So you're breaking through this moving average right now. Would not surprise me if it comes up to here before it decides to test for a support area. Okay, I can refine that even more by coming over here to the 360 and saying, okay, we have an ATR right here. Then we have another ATR right here at 2,700. So what would happen? Okay, it will go up and then it will come back and test. And it is on that test that I would be looking at potentially entering. Does everybody understand that? That could potentially be about a 100 pip move, but it has to form that support area right there. It's going to be around 2650, I think. Any questions on that? And of course, the ATR over here is right at about 2750. That's where you get that 100 pip move. All right, let's go and look at the USD CAD. Now, the USD CAD finally broke through this ATR. It really just hung there for about a month, and I wasn't even interested in trading it because it stayed there. It wouldn't go anywhere. It did manage to close above it, but it did not manage to close above that high right there. That really kind of worries me. You see it better over here. If I draw that high from here all the way over, do you see how weak that last bar looked? So I'm still kind of indecisive because the stochastics is starting to actually head to the downside. I'm not real comfortable with that looking at the daily because I know that's a weak bar. Then when I look over at the 360, you can see that there was a strong divergence on that last high. It was also a reversal bar to the downside. So, you know, I think it's all going to depend on whether this moving average acts as a support area. We will not know that until later on this evening. If it manages to close above the moving average, and I would say above 35.40, I would be more comfortable thinking, okay, that divergence has played out. We could potentially see some upward movement. Until then, I'm kind of undecided on the USD CAD. Any questions on that? And remember, this is one that has that market report on Friday, so you do want to be careful on Friday. Now let's go look at the USD Swiss franc. The USD Swiss franc is actually heading back to this ATR at 99.56. Now, it may actually come down to the blue dot at 98.27. You did have divergence on those highs. Okay, so you were making higher highs, lower highs in the stochastics. But when it gets to here, which is that ATR, you're probably going to be overextended here. Okay, that means that if they break through this ATR, there's going to be a new ATR about here, and they're going to have to go back and test to make sure resistance has formed. Okay, over on the daily chart, you can see that they're still heading down, which just tells me they're coming back to this ATR. Now, the one thing that I do that kind of helps me when I'm looking at that is I take this value at 99.56 and I really kind of just snap a line over here that tells me that this is going to have some significance. Okay, in other words, there's going to be a potential support area right about here. Okay, and that just lets me know that as this comes back, I could put an alert on it, or I could be notified or just watch it on my chart. Now, you can also put that over here. As you can see, I've got it locked to all of my charts. So this just tells me, okay, I've got a potential for support here, and I really want to watch the stochastics to see if I have divergence or a bullish reversal pattern at that line that tells me, hey, we're going to go up now and test for resistance. Right now, I'm not seeing it. The only move I'm seeing right now is probably down to 99.56, which is about a 40 pip move. Now let's go look at the USDJPY. It's pretty much the same as all of the other yen pairs. I think the yen is the currency I'd probably focus on this week in my own trading. You're overextended here, potential divergence here, overextended here. Okay, now it could go up to about 109. Let me see where that is. It's actually 108.90. If it forms resistance at this blue moving average, then I would anticipate it going down further. But with the potential divergence here, this is what I consider a wide bar. I would at least anticipate a move back up to at least 109. Okay, now again, you need to see a bullish bar come in here. But again, I always zero down in time to either the 60 and the 15 to confirm, hey, this is where it is going to start a retracement. Okay, I do think once it gets back up there, we may see some more downward moves, but right now, you know, it's too soon to tell. Any other questions, guys? I do thank all of you for joining me this evening. I appreciate you taking the time to join me on a Sunday evening. And again, if you would like to contact me, then you can visit my website at www.tradershelpdesk.com, or you can email me at gm@tradershelpdesk.com. All right, everyone have a wonderful evening. I hope to see you next Sunday, same time, same place.